Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Landscape Today weekly U.S. weather outlook. I'm Day Weather Incorporated meteorologist Don Day, and let's take a look at the week ahead. Now, first of all, we're not going to have nearly as much weather this upcoming week as what we have seen over this Thanksgiving week. The snow cover is extensive. You can see how far south the snow has gotten this past week, taking a big dip south all the way into Texas, New Mexico, and the southern plain states. If you looked at a year ago, we would see that snow cover was mainly confined to the far northern tier of the U.S. a year ago at this time. So far, the penetration of snow and ice a bit further south this year. Now let's take a look at the upcoming cumulative weekly precipitation. This is through Monday, December 7th. The wettest areas and the least number of days for good work days will be up here in the Pacific Northwest. It'll continue to be impacted by an active Pacific, and that's going to lead to cool, wet weather. Washington, Oregon, snow and rain down into central and northern California. The central and northern Sierra of California should get into good precip. This part of the country is going to catch a break. It looks like for most of this weekend into the weekend, nothing heavy coming. This system right here is what's leaving. The same system that caused a lot of snow this Thanksgiving weekend is going to cause a lot of snow across the Dakotas, into Minnesota and Iowa. Could see a foot or more of new snow in areas that got a foot or more of snow a week ago. The area that will be most impacted by wet weather will be right here. This will be especially later this week and this weekend. This should be mostly rain, except here on the northwest edges of the storm. But it's going to be wet in the southeastern United States, just like you'd expect in an El Nino year, and the least number of good work days will be in those areas. Let's take a look at forecasted low temperatures. We can see that for the most part, the extent of freezing temperatures is pretty far south here later in the week. But as we get into Monday, December 7th, we see a little bit of a retreat of those freezing temperatures a little bit more to the north, but you can see the areas of the nation that will continue to stay chilly as we head into the first week of December. But no deep penetration of Arctic air is expected in the southeastern United States yet. Most of the cold staying out here in the west, but even many areas in the west will moderate. So let's take a look at the highlights in our long-range outlook. These are our major weather trends for this week. It's not as cold and not as stormy across the U.S., so you're going to get more work days in this week as compared to Thanksgiving week. Still wet in the southeast and the Pacific Northwest. Those are the two areas that will be the most unsettled. Other areas of the nation are going to get a break, especially mid to late in the week. More active weather's coming the following week. We're especially watching the time frame of December 10th up to Christmas Day. That 2-week period is likely going to be more stormy coast to coast. Even southern central California could get wet during that time frame. That's something we'll keep an eye on. Thanks for tuning in this week to LandscapeToday.net's weekly weather update video. We'll talk to you next week. Have yourself a great week ahead.